Morning everyone, welcome back to the Magpie Channel TV. Happy Sunday, happy Mother's Day to all those mothers out there, especially mine. Hope you're having a good day, ma'am. See you soon. That's why I need to wrap up this video so I can go over and take her out for a nice meal. So this weekend has been nice to have Friday and Saturday off doing videos. Normally this video would be brought to you on a Friday, a day before the match on the Saturday, but since we're playing Monday night, I thought we'll wait until Sunday morning, get the video out then, because as you know, normally I do a press conference reaction and match preview on the Friday afternoon, but this week the videos have been flying out for you every day last week, including the live podcast on the Tuesday. So Thursday night's video, the rant on Steve Bruce and Amanda Staley's comments about that idiot, is I just thought I'd let that video flow. I thought I'd let that video flow, and thanks very much for all the feedback and the views on the videos this week. You have enjoyed them, so that means a lot to me. So I hope everyone's having a good weekend. It's a funny one, isn't it? You know, not having a too much on the weekend. On one hand, it's been nice just to chill out and not focus on it, and it gives us something to look forward to at the start of the week on Monday. But as always, you can't really replace that good old Saturday kick-off, can you? So we'll talk about the Chelsea game tomorrow night at Stamford Bridge in a bit, but there's loads of news that's came out over the weekend. And as you can see by the title of this video, the focus for now is going to be on the new director of football. So according to the Mail, who seem to get all the exclusives these days, they're talking about Newcastle United's pursuit for a new director of football is underway. The deal for Ashworth to go to Manchester United for a believed fee of around £50 million is on the verge of completion, so that should get done soon. Man United were obviously trying to haggle and trying to get him for cheap. Amanda Staley and Newcastle are just like, nah, if you want him, you pay it. Otherwise, his garden's going to keep getting bigger. So for now, it's looking like the £50 million deal is close, and Ashworth is obviously going to leave the team. He's been relieved of his duties a few weeks ago now, and the new director of football could be coming in. But before we talk about the potential candidates to replace Ashworth, it's worth noting that Andy Howe, the nephew of Eddie, has been, well, I was going to say promoted. Eddie made it a clear thing that he hasn't been promoted, just the title of his job has been changed, which normally kind of means a promotion. But they're saying that his job remains the same, really. He's just getting more recognition for it, in a sense, which again, it kind of sounds like you've been promoted. But apparently not. It's just a title of his job that's been changed. Job title is now slightly altered. But this one is an important one, according to Eddie and the club, because they've said that Andy Howe has been influential in transfers, which again, as I've said in previous videos, downplays the importance of Dan Ashworth. Now everyone thinks he's the mastermind behind every signing that's ever existed in English football. That is not the case. So for the major role that Andy Howe has played in the signings that Newcastle have made in recent windows, he's been given a new job title, probably a nice little pay rise, and they're obviously saying that he is of big importance. And the same goes for Steve Nixon. Listen, before we get into these candidates that are meant to be coming in as Newcastle's new director of football, a lot of talk has also been that Steve Nixon, the chief scout, could just be promoted. He may actually get a promotion for the tune where he essentially becomes the kind of sporting director. You know, he takes on an added bit of responsibility here and there, but they see him as a potential figure where it makes sense of just moving him up a notch, especially while this pursuit goes on for a new director of football at least. Now, they feel that Nixon isn't quite getting into the role. Maybe then they'll look elsewhere and bring someone in. But for now, it looks like they trust Steve Nixon and Andy Howe just to do that bit more and kind of get promoted / not promoted and take on some extensive roles which Ashworth was doing. Let's put the specs on then and read this article, because they are saying that Newcastle's search for a new sporting director has started, and the Mail exclusively reveals that the club have hired the internationally renowned Odgers Bernstein to lead the recruitment drive. It is a signal of the club's intent to replace Dan Ashworth and get the best in the business, given the company are seen as one of the world's leading executive search firms with over 31 countries in which they have offices. They have learned that Odgers and Bernstein have already reached out to people in the game, and while there is no definitive time frame on an appointment, it is thought those who would be the top candidates have already been identified. Names mentioned include former Monaco sporting director Paul Mitchell, Brentford pair Phil Giles and Lee Dykes, who obviously get loads of credit for what the transformation of Brentford have done. Obviously not having a great season at the minute. Well, you know, I was going to say flirting with relegation, just about. I think the 15th, 16th. Tony's obviously been missing for a majority of that, but they're very highly regarded. Ex-Roma chief Thiago Pinto, although the list will extend beyond that. And then they talk about, you know, head of recruitment Steve Nixon be considered for a redrawn role if the club decide to tweak their model. So those candidates there, some interesting names. Obviously the big ones, like I said, the Brentford ones come with a lot of reputation. The ones from Monaco and that, you know, I don't know too much on. Maybe we'll do another video on those in depth if it actually came out that were worth pursuing them further. I don't want to waste everyone's time and talk about them for them to not actually be anywhere near coming. Now, someone I would have loved to have seen in the role was Michael Edwards, but he looks like he's going back to Liverpool in a senior role. He did leave them, he did a great job there. It looks like Liverpool are about to pull off getting him and Richard Hughes in behind the scenes for them, so that's two unbelievable signings if they get them done. Ones I would have liked to have seen at the Toon, but we'll back the board, we'll back this new recruitment system that we've brought in, this company that we've hired to get the job done. That should surely do their job and get a replacement in for Dan Ashworth. So let's see if anything develops on those. If they do, we'll be the first to bring it here on the Magpie channel. So hit subscribe if you haven't already. Loads of other things to get through on this video, because in this article as well, they talk about a potential transfer target, and that is 60 million Pedro Netto from Wolves. Now, what a signing this would be. Speaking of Liverpool, we're apparently leading the race ahead of them to sign Netto this summer, which would be amazing, especially to beat them to a signing would be something else. But to be fair, I love the Netto deal. Right winger who can actually score goals and assists, you know, better than Miggy, obviously. And I think it would be an amazing signing, really, really would. However, the injuries are a concern. I mean, twice I've seen him play against Newcastle this season, and twice he's went off injured. So, bit injury prone, that's a worry. That's a sad, you know, I really don't want more injured forwards. We've had enough of those. We've still got enough of those with Callum Wilson, so we don't want that. But he is obviously an unreal talent, and if you can keep him fit, then one of the best in the leagues on his day. Really, really is. Big fan of Portuguese Netto. 60 million, steep. Let's hope FFP sorted for the summer then, eh? And the other rumour in this paper, which has been going on for months now, hasn't it? We touched on it back in January, is that Newcastle are still in talks with Lloyd Kelly at Bournemouth. The defender, 25 years old, is a free agent this summer. Howe likes him. He can slot in at centre-back, left-back. I really think this one will happen for the Toon this summer in the window, so keep your eyes peeled for that one. But this paper here is still saying that talks are ongoing and progressing well. Beaten off again, stiff competition from the likes of Spurs and AC Milan as it stands. So I think Kelly, on a free, will be a really smart deal for the Magpies. One of the most interesting things to come out from the weekend, now originally in the press conference on Friday, Eddie Howe said that Lewis Hall was nailed on to be a Newcastle player next season. Nailed on. Definitely going to be here. Planning for the long term. When we signed him, that was the goal. You know, we need patience, we need to develop him, and he will be at Newcastle United for many, many years to come, because there have been rumours that maybe he was going back to Chelsea and the activation hadn't been hitting his deal. Now, over the weekend, it's came out that that activation clause is apparently if Newcastle finish above 15th in the Premier League. So if the Toon finish above 15th, then it automatically triggers the deal with Chelsea to sign Lewis Hall for around £28 million. Now, we know Hall hasn't featured much at all for Newcastle this season. I think it's 11 appearances, 4 of them being starts. It's been a shame, it's been a struggle. You know, the 19-year-old hasn't obviously impressed much to be given a chance, which is mental during the injury crisis. You thought he'd definitely play. But we're working on him, I believe in him. I think he'll do well, I think he'll kick on. And it looks like he's definitely set to be here at Newcastle United for the long term. Speaking of Hall, speaking of Chelsea, that's where they go on Monday night. Well, Hall won't. He's ineligible, so he can't play against his parent club. So he'll probably be sitting at home watching it on Monday Night Football like the rest of us who aren't going down to Stamford Bridge. So I tell you what, this Chelsea game, let's talk about it now. I fancy us to win. I really do. I'll get into my score prediction at the end and drop yours in the comments, but I just feel like Chelsea are really poor. Honestly, I really do. I'm still devastated from when I was at Stamford Bridge earlier in the season for that Carabao Cup quarter-final, and we were minutes, seconds away from getting to a semi-final against Middlesbrough, and Trippier's mistake cost us. And then I was there, I was behind the goal for the penalties. Oh, it was heart-wrenching, it really was. I was devastated that night, I was raging. So I want revenge for that, to be fair. I want revenge for that. I want to get back at them for that, because they were all trying to take the mick after the game, the Chelsea fans, and Mudryk with the winner of all people. He's crap as well. So, you know what I mean? I just feel like Monday night Chelsea, and we've got to remember they're in 11th, where after this weekend's result, I don't even know where we are, about 9th, 10th again. But we've got a chance to obviously get back up there, 8th, 7th, probably best, because West Ham played Burnley the day, Man U won yesterday against Everton. So that gap to 6 has increased, 6th place, but it'll go back down to 4 points if we win on Monday night. And I just think, you know, Chelsea, you'd never really be that confident, and it's a ground that I think we've only won once or twice on in the last 29 meetings in the Premier League. So it's not great, but this isn't Chelsea of old. You know what I mean? This Chelsea's been woeful this season for me. The bottom half, with Pochettino, they're just not getting things together. They're all over the place. I think we've really got to go there, play our game, and take advantage of it. If we play anything like we did against Wolves last week, which we really need, by the way, because we're seeing last week, I was seeing all the identities back, Newcastle's back, this is Eddie Howe, this is the style of play, this is the intensity we've all loved and got used to last season. We need consistency with that as well. And listen, we went to Villa Park and got a great result. I'm backing it against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. They've got a few players missing as well. If I look at their injury list, Fofana and Kunku, Leslie Kachukwu. It's too early on a Sunday to be doing this. Reece James all remain sidelined, while the availability of Lavia, Badiashile, Chukwuemeka is yet to be established. They are fresh outs over Levi Colwill, Ben Chilwell, Cucurella and Conor Gallagher. So I'll tell you what, those are the big ones, because Conor Gallagher has been a shining light for Chelsea this season, one of their best players. He's wore the armband most of the time. And then at left back as well, got big problems there. Colwill and Chilwell are both out. So it's a big chance for Newcastle. Really big chance. They've lost 4 games at home this season, Chelsea, against Forest, Villa, Brentford and Wolves, all leaving Stamford Bridge with 3 points. That gives us a huge motivation, really. And you look at our injury list, obviously you mentioned Hall can't play, Trippier's obviously going to miss the next couple of games, so ex-Chelsea player Tino Livramento can play, and I'm backing him to score. I fancy it. If you watched my thing on the Irish Mags podcast the other night, you would have seen that. I fancy Tino to score for the Toon on Monday night. How good would that be? Isaac maybe as well. Gordon, who's obviously hoping for an England call-up on Thursday when the squads get announced. So, aye, go to Stamford Bridge, play our game, and get that win. 2-1 to the Toon is what I am going for. I'll be doing a live match reaction 10 minutes after full time, so make sure you tune in to the Magpie Channel TV for that on Monday night. Get involved in the live chat and everything else. Hope you're having a good weekend, people. It has been a canny one. To be fair, yesterday was good. Mackems, 6 in a row. How's that 6 in a row treat you now? 6 losses in a row in the Championship. And Adam Armstrong, the ex-Magpie, the Geordie, scoring against the Mackems. That's been a canny weekend. I'll tell you that, has been a canny weekend. Again, shout out to all the mums out there on Mother's Day. Hope you have a great day. Hope everyone's having a good weekend. And I'll see you on Monday night. Take it easy.